Power in Norse mythology is not about winning. It's about who makes the universe hesitate when they move. These stories come from a world that already knows its ending. The gods know Ragnarok is coming. They know the sky will burn, the seas will rise, and most heroic plans will fail right on time. And yet they still sharpen weapons, make alliances, and argue about who's strongest, as if fate might suddenly say, actually, never mind. So today, we're counting down the 10 most powerful beings in Norse mythology. Not the nicest, not the smartest, not the most popular, but the most powerful. The ones whose existence alone bends reality, reshapes worlds, or guarantees their destruction. If you enjoy epic mythological facts and stories, consider liking the video or subscribing. And while you're here, comment where you're watching from and which being you think truly deserves the top spot. Now let us begin, not with thunder or fire, but with the one who sees the end coming and stands watch anyway. Number 10. Heimdall, guardian of the Bifrost. Some beings punch things, some burn worlds. This one decides when any of that is allowed to happen. Heimdall is born of 9 mothers, often described as the waves of the sea, which already places him at the edges of reality. That's fitting, because his entire purpose is guarding the Bifrost, the burning bridge that connects the realms. This bridge is not decoration. It's a cosmic choke point. If the wrong force crosses it at the wrong moment, the universe doesn't wobble, collapses early. To handle that responsibility, Heimdall is given perception pushed to extremes. He can see across worlds, hear the smallest movement of life, and sleeps so little that awareness becomes permanent. Other gods train for battle, craft weapons, or argue about destiny. Heimdall watches the clock. The moment that proves his power comes at Ragnarok. When the end finally arrives, Heimdall lifts the Gjallarhorn and blows it. That sound does not cause destruction. It authorizes it. Armies move. Battles begin. Fate stops waiting and starts executing. Symbolically, Heimdall represents vigilance and control over timing. He does not reshape the world or destroy it himself, which is exactly why he ranks here and not higher. Others on this list wield far more destructive power, but none of them act until Heimdall gives the signal. Quiet authority, perfect timing, no second chances. Number 9. Tyr, the god of war. Tyr's power doesn't come from size, speed, or spectacle. It comes from certainty. Before Odin became the master strategist and before Thor became the living embodiment of force, Tyr was the god of war. Not war as chaos, but war with rules. War bound by oaths. In early Norse belief, Tyr represents order holding the battlefield together, the idea that even violence needs structure or everything collapses into madness. The myth that defines Tyr is also the one that permanently changes him. When the gods realize Fenrir is growing too powerful to control, they decide to bind the wolf. Fenrir agrees, but only if one god places a hand in his mouth as a sign of trust. Everyone understands the cost of that request. Everyone hesitates. Tyr steps forward. The binding works. Fenrir realizes the deception and bites Tyr's hand clean off. There is no reversal. Tyr keeps his word and pays for it permanently. That moment demonstrates Tyr's power. His sacrifice stabilizes the cosmos and delays catastrophe. Fenrir remains bound. Ragnarok is postponed. Time is bought at the cost of flesh. Symbolically, Tyr represents law, sacrifice, and the brutal honesty of commitment. He ranks here because his power is absolute in principle but limited in scope. He does not command fate or destroy worlds. Others surpass him in raw force and cosmic scale. But without Tyr's sacrifice, the end would have arrived far sooner. Number 8. Loki, the trickster god. Loki's power doesn't break things directly. It makes sure everything breaks eventually. Loki's origins are already a warning sign. He is born a giant but lives among the gods. Never fully trusted and never fully excluded. That position gives him access. He eats at Odin's table, travels with Thor, and listens carefully while everyone else assumes he's just being annoying. Loki isn't strong in the traditional sense. He is dangerous because he understands how the system works. His myths are full of shape-shifting, deception, and perfectly timed interference. Loki turns problems into disasters and then, occasionally, fixes them just enough to stay welcome. But the story that proves his true power is the death of Baldur. Baldur is beloved, invulnerable, and seemingly untouchable. Loki discovers the single thing that can kill him, the mistletoe, and turns a harmless game into murder. Just a small action with irreversible consequences. That single moment fractures the gods and sets Ragnarok in motion. Symbolically, Loki represents instability inside order. He is the flaw that can't be patched because it understands the design too well. At Ragnarok, Loki fully embraces this role, leading the enemies of the gods against Asgard. He doesn't survive the end. He kills Heimdall and is killed in return. Loki ranks here because his power is immense but indirect. He doesn't destroy worlds himself. He makes their destruction unavoidable. Others on this list wield greater force and authority, but none of them destabilize reality as efficiently as Loki does. Number 7. Hel, goddess of the dead. Hel's power doesn't chase anyone. It waits, and it always gets what it's owed. Hel is the daughter of Loki, and from the start the gods are uneasy about her. Odin banishes her to Helheim, the realm beneath the roots of the world tree, expecting exile to be a punishment. Instead, it becomes a promotion. Hel doesn't just reside among the dead. She rules them. Her realm isn't fire and screams. It's cold, still, and final. Hel governs those who die of age, sickness, or misfortune, which means most souls end up under her authority. Warriors go to Valhalla. Everyone else reports to Hel. Quietly, permanently. The myth that shows her power most clearly comes after Baldur's death. The gods beg Hel to release him. She agrees, but only if every being in the world weeps for Baldur. Almost all do. One refuses. Hel does not release Baldur. Even Odin cannot overrule her decision. That's the point. Hel does not bargain twice. Symbolically, Hel represents finality. Not violent death, not heroic sacrifice, but the absolute authority of endings. She ranks here because her power is total within her domain, but contained. She does not create worlds or destroy them. She decides who never returns. Others command fire, strength, or chaos. Hel commands the end of all arguments. Number 6. Fenrir, the wolf of Ragnarok. Fenrir's power is simple, honest, and terrifying. It grows, and it does not stop. Born to Loki, Fenrir is raised among the gods, watched closely from the beginning. First, he's just a wolf. Large, yes, but manageable. Then he grows, and keeps growing, faster than anyone is comfortable admitting. Strength, in Fenrir's story, doesn't arrive suddenly. It accumulates until control is no longer an option. The gods test him with chains, heavy iron bonds. Fenrir snaps them like toys. Finally, they turn to magic and create Gleipnir, a ribbon-thin binding made from impossible things. It looks harmless, which is exactly why it works. Fenrir senses deception and demands a guarantee. Someone must place a hand in his mouth. Tyr does. The binding holds. Fenrir bites. That moment proves Fenrir's power. Even restrained, he permanently scars the god of war. At Ragnarok, Fenrir breaks free. He charges into the final battle with jaws so wide they scrape sky and ground at once. And then he does the unthinkable. Fenrir devours Odin, the Allfather himself. Not a trick, not a prophecy loophole, just unstoppable force meeting its moment. Fenrir ranks here because his power is absolute once unleashed, but limited in direction. He does not plan. He does not rule. He does not survive the end. Others surpass him in scale and consequence. But no being on this list delivers a more direct, irreversible blow to the gods themselves. Number 5. Jormungandr, the world serpent. Jormungandr doesn't rush into power. He surrounds it. Born to Loki and thrown by Odin into the oceans encircling Midgard, Jormungandr is meant to be contained by distance. That plan fails immediately. The serpent grows until the sea can no longer hold him properly. He coils around the world and bites his own tail, becoming part of the planet's structure. Not a monster living on the world, but a force that defines its boundaries. The myth that proves his scale happens long before Ragnarok. Thor goes fishing with the giant Ymir and hooks Jormungandr using an ox's head as bait. For a moment, the impossible happens. Thor hauls the world serpent toward the surface, hammer raised, feet punching through the boat. The sky darkens. The ocean strains. Ymir panics and cuts the line. The serpent sinks back into the depths. The world exhales. The fight is postponed, not resolved. At Ragnarok, postponement ends. Jormungandr rises from the sea, poisoning the sky and flooding the land. He and Thor finally meet without interruption. They kill each other. Thor strikes the serpent dead, then walks 9 steps and collapses from venom. Jormungandr ranks here because his power is planetary in scale but balanced. He can reshape the world, but he cannot outlast it. Others exceed him in authority or finality, but no being presses so directly against the limits of existence itself. Number 4. Thor, the god of thunder. Thor's power is obvious. It announces itself with noise. Son of Odin and wielder of Mjolnir, Thor is built for one purpose: impact. Giants threaten the order of the worlds, and Thor is sent to make sure they stop doing that. His hammer always returns to his hand. Mountains crack where he strikes. Storms follow him like punctuation marks. The stories that prove Thor's power are everywhere. He crushes giants by the dozen. He drains oceans in drinking contests disguised as games. He almost lifts the world serpent itself while being tricked into thinking it's a cat. Even when deception is involved, Thor's raw strength keeps pushing reality to its limits. The clearest demonstration comes at Ragnarok. Thor faces Jormungandr, the world serpent that wraps around the planet. This is not a symbolic battle. It's force versus scale. Thor kills the serpent. Then he takes 9 steps and dies from its venom. Victory and consequence arrive together. Thor ranks here because his power is unmatched in direct combat. No god hits harder. No weapon is more reliable. But his strength is straightforward. He solves problems by destroying them, not by reshaping fate or controlling outcomes. Others on this list operate on deeper levels of reality. Thor is the embodiment of physical power at its absolute peak. And in a world that constantly needs defending, that kind of strength matters. Number 3. Odin the Allfather. Odin's power doesn't hit you in the face. It moves the pieces so the hit is unavoidable. Odin is the ruler of the gods, but he doesn't rule by strength alone. He rules by knowledge, sacrifice, and strategy. From the beginning, Odin understands one thing clearly. The future exists and it can be studied. So he pays for information with parts of himself. An eye at Mimir's well. 9 days hanging from the world tree, pierced by his own spear, just to learn the runes that shape reality. The myths that define Odin are not clean victories. He bargains with giants. He tricks, manipulates, and prepares. He gathers warriors in Valhalla, not to conquer the world, but to delay its end. Every decision he makes is influenced by his knowledge of Ragnarok. He knows he will die. He plans anyway. That's where his power shows. Odin doesn't stop Ragnarok. He organizes it. He positions gods, monsters, and mortals like pieces on a board that's already on fire. At the end, Odin faces Fenrir and is devoured. No last-minute escape. Not a single clever loophole. His strength was never about survival. Odin ranks here because his power shapes the entire mythological arc. He doesn't destroy worlds or create them, but he controls how events unfold across ages. Others surpass him in raw force or finality. But no one understands the game better than Odin, and no one plays it longer. Number 2. Surtr the Fire Giant. Surtr's power doesn't argue. It ends discussions. Surtr is older than the gods, older than order itself. He comes from Muspelheim, the realm of fire that existed before the world had shape. While the gods build, rule, and argue, Surtr waits at the edge of creation, sword burning brighter than the sun, doing absolutely nothing until the moment he's supposed to do everything. That moment is Ragnarok. When the final battle begins, Surtr doesn't sneak in or pick a side. He marches forward, flames spilling across the sky, and clashes with Freyr. The fight is short and brutal. Freyr falls unarmed, and Surtr keeps moving. Then Surtr raises his sword and sets the world on fire. Not a city, not a realm, the entire cosmos. The old world burns completely, clearing the way for something new to exist. That's the key to Surtr's power. He doesn't conquer, he resets. Symbolically, Surtr represents destruction as a necessary phase, not chaos for its own sake. Fire that doesn't hate or judge. Fire that simply does its job. Surtr ranks here because his power is nearly absolute, but not foundational. He ends the world, but he didn't create it. One being still stands above him, not as a destroyer or a ruler, but as the source everything else comes from. Number 1. Ymir, the primordial giant. Ymir's power isn't loud. It doesn't need to be. Everything else exists because of him. Before gods, before giants, before the world had shape or rules, there was Ymir. He emerges from the void where fire and ice collide, not created by anyone, not serving any purpose, just existing. And in Norse mythology, that already makes him more powerful than anything that comes after. From Ymir's body, life begins to spill out. Giants are born from his sweat. The cosmos forms around him. When Odin and his brothers finally kill Ymir, they don't defeat him in a traditional sense. They dismantle him. His flesh becomes the land. His blood becomes the seas. His bones form mountains. His skull becomes the sky. The world itself is made from what remains of him. That's the story that defines his power. Ymir doesn't shape the world. He is the material the world is shaped from. Symbolically, Ymir represents raw existence before order, intention, or morality. He is power without direction, creation without design. Ymir ranks at the top because every other being on this list operates inside a system built from him. Gods can rule, monsters can destroy, fire can reset, but none of it exists without Ymir coming first. He is not powerful because he wins. He is the most powerful because nothing comes before him. So that's our countdown of the 10 most powerful beings in Norse mythology, where power isn't just strength, but scale, timing, and inevitability. Now it's your turn. Which being truly felt the most powerful to you, and why? Drop your take in the comments and tell me where you're watching from.